I can only imagine what the average MCU superfan has done to survive the last month. Probably rented out a fallout shelter and made as few attempts to leave like a Squirtle with agoraphobia. But now that Avengers Endgame has arrived, on my way home from work, I could have sneezed, turned the wheel 2 degrees, and taken out so many people you would be forgiven for believing Godzilla came stomping through town. Avengers Endgame is Marvel's last big hurrah before sending off everyone who brought in more money to Disney than the Vatican exploits from its people. I've puzzled over this review a bit now, not because my laptop says concentrate on the side like a carton of orange juice, rather how to review Endgame without spoiling the film for those with weak constitutions. I'm not afraid to spoil anything, but realize that I hold the lives of everyone in the path of destruction in my hands. And I don't think that combined with Tornado Alley forcing more people to move than an eviction notice on Christmas, or lakes that are comprised of more sewage and waste than water, the Midwest could probably do without a dead scar as well. So if you want the brief, here it is. Endgame is good, not great. Infinity War has a tighter story, like it took 6 months of a hot yoga class, and the impact of events is more poignant, like beating Mike Tyson's Punch-Out blind for the first time. The issues I have with the film are not deal-breakers, like buying a house with ghosts haunting the place, and while not as good as Infinity War, Endgame is still a fun ride to enjoy for everyone. Now from this point on, we'll go over a few spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, leave now, cut down my view time, you bastards. Watch the movie and wipe up your mascara with your popcorn and come back later to watch this all the way. If you have seen Endgame and or don't care about spoilers, well, welcome. So here is your warning, we're about to start in 3, 2, 1. The time travel in this film is wrong. What, don't believe me? Just ask Albert Einstein about general relativity. This is one of the biggest issues I have with Endgame, is despite the stones being removed from the timeline, like deleting a damning tweet like PETA defending its employees taking insulin, while, like the internet, the quantum realm is forever. This option still exists for any and all heroes who join the MCU from this point forward, and the rules are inconsistent as hell, like the operational status of a McDonald's ice cream machine. Sorry, but time is linear, and Nebula killing Nebula kills Nebula. Sure, there are touching moments like Tony meeting his dad, but Captain America fighting himself, then stating that Bucky is still alive, had me more impressed that the entire MCU didn't just collapse in on itself like a black hole. So many interactions between characters cause issues that Endgame actually taps into Terminator Genesis levels of bad. What, you can't strike one and not the other if they both commit the same sin? That would make you hypocrites, and we have to be consistent. Something else that could cause long-lasting issues for the MCU, like a hobbit making a home in New Orleans during Katrina. Captain Marvel. The internet has thrown more shit at this character and actress than the Great Mighty Pooh tossed at Conquer, but holy crap, this film confirms it all. Captain Marvel is now 0 for 2 in her appearances of the MCU. Brie Larson has less charisma than a homeless McDonald's hamburger. She at one point moves the plot along by hand, and during the big fight, Thanos headbutts her, and she doesn't even blink. It's like she was given the IDD-QD code and proceeds to hand Thanos' ass to him. She's only tossed to the side once Thanos realizes she's probably cheating, so he grabs the Power Stone and uses his newfound hacks to beat her back. It's like the Russos realized they made a terrible mistake and had to knock her ass out of the way, or else she would end the entire climax in less than 5 minutes, like Superman at the end of Justice League. This problem extends past Endgame, though, as Captain Ex Machina has been shown to far exceed Thanos on the power scale. This is Dragon Ball's stupid amounts of bullshit. Thanos, without the Infinity Gauntlet, just got done fisting Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor as his own personal puppets so hard they could be given jobs at the Jim Henson Company tonight. Now against Captain Leet Hacks, Thanos is reduced to the threat of a Koopa thrown in the Coliseum against Esper-formed Terra. How am I supposed to fear for this character? Stark is like Grandpa Cialis, Captain America is just another dude in tights, and Thor Odinbod are all likable and relatable since they fail, struggle, and succeed like real people. But Captain Mary Sue, thus far, has had none of that and makes me fear for the future of the MCU. Speaking of failures like not living up to my parents' hopes and dreams, the effects of the snapping are, to me, underplayed. Don't you think any heroes would be seen as failures and loathed by everyone around them for failing to prevent what happened, like Chief Brody getting smacked for leaving the beaches open? Instead, people ask the Hulk for selfies as though they weren't just recently turned into orphans. Now, I should emphasize that while this review has been negative in tone, like Alucard's disagreement with Dracula existing, the issues I found in Endgame stick out like Ganon at the State Fair, but what is focused on is executed so well that in most cases that you are drawn in, like Dracula gave Mina Harker a calendar and said, wait until you see July. Thor, bearing the weight of half the universe, turning to ash like Alucard's mother because he wanted to gloat like a teabagger who got lucky in Halo, is played so well that when he realizes he is still worthy, it feels like something a lot of people in this world really need to hear. Captain America questioning his own beliefs and struggling to cope while also being the moral beacon like an NPC paladin in a D&D session is stressed. Feeling he is lying to everyone around him strikes chords, like telling your friends you totally slept with that cheerleader until social media breaks breaks the news to everyone that you didn't, and you're slapped with a restraining order faster than Pepe Le Pew thinking a pet store is a strip club. And Iron Man's reluctance to turn away from either life he has created for himself, it's like the emotional struggle you would have with yourself about eating the last piece of French silk pie in the world in front of a starving Somalian child. I do want to help the kid, but this pie is so fucking good! The final verdict? I think Avengers Endgame is just good enough. The focus on fewer characters balances out what Infinity War just narrowly missed. The original Avengers are all focused on so much that it makes up for characters being set aside. Numerous inconsistencies and questions shoot so many holes in the continuity up to this point that if you pull back and look at the MCU as a whole, it would probably resemble Bonnie and Clyde after they were gunned down by Doom Guy. And while the final battle is awesome, it does come off as destruction porn with little more reason than to set up the ending to the first 3 phases of the MCU. And Iron Man's passing would taste a lot better if there wasn't mascara all over my popcorn.